Bum, bum, bum. I don't know if we still have ads. On YouTube, they gave us so many ads. I felt like the more popular we became, the more ads we had. But maybe.
And we are both, for various reasons, for different reasons, we are both banned from
Banned.
Facebook. So anyone watching us on Facebook, which on my
Who's
end,
banned?
I've
Who's
gone
banned?
ahead and advertised that it's because Facebook supports the Proud Boys. Because I got banned for criticizing the Proud Boys. So if you want to speak up against
Crazy.
those fascist bastards
You can't.
personally hate,
You can't.
get banned for that, go ahead and give us a like.
You can't even say those words. Some of those words were naughty words.
Any Proud Boys or any of those
Yeah, don't even say it.
quote unquote wimpy patriots out there, just so you know, I have zero support for you and your causes. So,
and you have caused Matthew. No, Matthew's banned, and so am I. I'm not banned because of the Proud Boys. I'm banned because of a kidney issue and spamming and all sorts.
Well, it's so funny. So you guys know, in North Carolina, we had power stations shot up.
Yeah, major.
Take out. So people were out of power for like 5 days, all because, God forbid, there was a drag show. And Jesus says, you know, God's going to punish our whole entire fucking country because of that show. So they took out power for like a whole entire county. And so because of that, it was the Proud Boys that were protesting. So they are likely the people behind this, even though it hasn't been convicted yet. So I just happen to say that they're no better than the KKK. And that phrase has gotten me banned from Facebook for like a month.
Yep, can't do it. Just can't do it.
I stand by it. I think, you know, I'll give I'll give the Proud Boys credit. At least they don't cover their cowardice faces with sheets, but they're no different than the KKK.
Offer ends, yeah. And the offer ends.
Same bullshit, same ideology, same wimpy, hide behind our guns and shit.
And we don't know when the ban ends. I was going to say, I don't know if... Is it 90 days? Is it six months? Is it 3 weeks? We don't know. I don't think it even matters. It doesn't. All I know is that there's words you can't say. And on any, someone said where, it's mostly the Meta social media sites. They're very, very, very picky. So we're very honored and thankful that certain places were like YouTube definitely is another one. But they're a little bit more lenient than Facebook.
I find it interesting that YouTube is really deferring to China. Which I got to say, if I was the business owner of YouTube, I would not be placating China, because I feel long-term that business model is a bad deal, because China certainly is not the most open society in the world.
Having some struggles. They're in another big lockdown.
And if you're a business and you want to do business in China, you're going to be restricted. Whereas I am, just so everybody knows, because I saw Steph asking about the grooming, I am for limited. I'm almost on the anarchist side of things, of just let everything go and let the best idea and the best things take care of themselves. I am for limited restrictions on effing anything.
You're yeah. And you're also a father, and you're also an international businessman that, you know, works with a lot of people that I would say gives you firsthand experience on some of these issues going on, which is a unique perspective.
And I will say some of this, like, because there was some posts on grooming. I think the grooming thing, although I think there's an element to that, I feel that is being massively overblown for a political end.
Man, I'll tell you what, this is something that I have struggled with, and it's interesting that it's really ironic. My cheeks almost want to, hurt. It's interesting that this is coming up because I've been kind of meditating on this subject a lot. You know, I work with sex offenders specifically, and I have for almost 2 years now. And when I think about that, man, grooming is like a freaking chapter in discussions that we have and that we facilitate, and that I'm working with like level 1, 2, and 3 sex offenders, sometimes pedophiles, on grooming, specifically grooming. And so seeing it come into the headlines in the last few years has been interesting. It's been really interesting to see, peeping in and out of the schools and political spaces and like Hollywood spaces and conspiracy theory spaces and places that have always been pretty fringe, have always been like things I talk about with my schizophrenic patients, maybe my MUFON chapter meetings, my, paranormal people on a podcast, but not something that I would see on a major news or even, something on TV. And I feel like you could go to like a YouTube news stream and see some of those topics, pedophilia, grooming, maps, like all of it coming into mainstream discussion. And it is something to be preventative about, but unfortunately, and this is all I will say about it, and we'll see how quickly we get banned, is that the way in which it's moved into our culture and society as Americans is.
You would know better than I. I'm just going to say this. I want to make this very clear. I am not for, even though I play more on that anarchist space of things, I am not for anything goes abuse-wise. But I would argue that the more repressive things get, the more that feeds the dysfunctional things in our society.
Right.
So I feel like, actually like a more Victorian or 50s type mindset actually creates more deviance than a more open society. That is my own opinion.
Right.
I feel you have more sexual predators, sexual deviants, the more restrictive of a society you have.
You definitely can. And I think the internet and the age of information is what has kind of, man, we have a sim now, like, not to get completely off topic from tonight's podcast, but like, you have an alter alias now. You have something that extends beyond your physical body, which in so many ways I think really does fuck the mind of the younger, that you don't have to be dependent on your gender role or genitalia. You're not in a status of male, female, hunter, gatherer, any of that. I mean, you're just a consumer. That really changes and warps your identity and a purpose that I think is beyond most people's religion and culture and even awareness. And it can and will be used as a tool against people. And I unfortunately think that it has been and will be and continue to be in the news. So maybe that makes
we won't know till the end of time, which I do believe we will have access to all information, but I do believe there was more underground, deviant, sick shit going on in the Victorian and 1950s era than now. It's just because it was so hidden and so repressed. There was all kinds of like really sick shit going on.
Right. It's very.
Whereas I personally believe, and again, I don't want to derail this whole conversation, but I personally believe if you let kind of folks in that whole commonality kind of like deal with themselves and kind of go off in their own little thing instead of restrain them, you get less negative stuff. You'll always have some negative stuff that you need to police, but you'll have less of it than if you try to really clamp down on it all, and then it just goes like totally into like the black market shit.
Well, I think any sexual motivation of any kind, deviant, kinks, torture, pleasure, pain, gosh, you watch an episode of Vikings or Game of Thrones, and I think all of that is in many ways pretty realistic about how we've always been as far as that has been around. And now that age of information is more prevalent, we are exposed to it in a way that we have to know how we feel about it.
As weird as it sounds, I'd rather have like folks like link up with each other and have somebody dress up as a little girl and let somebody like do their stuff than have somebody repressed and go out and find some 6-year-old to go ahead and do it.
Oh, like regulating sex work and having things available and things like, and that's kind of where
I'd rather have like the deviants all like, I hate to even use that word, but I'd rather have like all those like outside of the norm, like all kind of like go in their own little like party and play with each other, than restrict the whole thing and have them like attack normal people, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, which is why I think you can see now, man, I'm not
advocating it, but I feel like the more
I'm going to be so unpopular with this.
The more open it is, the less victims you have.
Well, this is why you have bisexual Barbie for sale.
Yeah.
This is precisely why. I mean, because now you can sell it.
So it might sound weird, but I actually think like the more you try to restrain it, like the more victims you have. And so that's where my mindset is. Whether you agree with me or not, you can hate me.
No, I think for consenting adults,
it's coming from a good place.
Right.
But I'd rather have consenting adults all doing their own stuff without judgment than having them have it repressed and act out on innocent victims.
And therein is the struggle, because I think it's as long as we're consenting adults, but the whole being exposed to it as underage children are just clicking away.
Exactly.
There's some predatorial things that, unfortunately, the naive, we should all be aware that there's
I
some,
feel like naively, some aspects in our society feel like this is just evil and it should all be tucked away.
right. And it's not.
In reality,
won't be.
I feel that creates more harm than good. You can attack me and hate me for it. I'm not condoning any of it. I'm just saying I'd rather have consenting adults with whatever freaking floats their boat all link up and do their own shit and keep that away from like innocent people.
Pepper says, what even brought on this topic?
I don't know, but it's just kind of where we started. And so
it is where we started.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to go back and listen to that one, because that's kind of how this show works. If you're listening for the first time, we don't always start with pedophilia, I promise. Usually we're talking about advertisements. Usually here on Astrology and Alchemy, we are censorship. And the problem with the Censorship Bureau, that's why we were talking about the censorship. And just how that's
exactly what started is why our Facebook things were
why we've been banned and things of that nature. And so one of the things that I appreciate about Matt and I and our co-hosting of this show, and he and I have been doing podcasts now for, dare I say, decades, which is kind of scary, but the diversity and the difference of opinion, different parts of the country, completely different backgrounds, very different professions. And whenever I'm looking at astrology from a forensic psychology perspective, it's very different than the way you look at it. And I know in our time spent working together.
She's a forensic psychologist. I'm a effing chemist. So, like, as far as like, human nature, as far as human nature goes, she's got a lot more insight in human nature than I do.
But seeing you do Excel spreadsheets on statistics of the likelihood of behavioral things happening, and just to see things pan out through astrology, I thought, wow, this is kind of, you have subjective and objective and yin and yang, and that even that masculine, feminine, and the need for the bipolarity and how it works together to kind of keep the cycle going.
I was just saying that as a compliment to you. I think you come from a much more knowledgeable psychological space. All saying, as we're going to talk this week, is we're getting into Cap season, and I'm a Cap. Yeah. I come from a very cold, impersonal space, and so take that.
Capricorns are cold. What's up with that? And how come you guys go for days or years?
The two most intense, in my opinion, the two most intense signs are Scorpio and Cap. But Scorpio is emotional intensity, and Capricorn is cold intensity. So it's just
the mental fortitude. I think Ragnar and Vikings.
The folks that unfortunately on the Cap side, the folks that you want shit to get done regardless of personal cost, it's Caps. The folks that I follow the war in Europe right now, and the folks you want like in Russia, like doing like the Battle of Stalingrad, that we're gonna lose 1 million human beings, but we're gonna win the war. It's like Caps you want in charge of making those decisions. Yes, 1 million people will die, but we will win.
Stab them in the heart, take their firstborn, and let's get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Chuck E. Cheese.
My opposite sign, Cancer, which is my favorite sign in all the zodiac, would be weeping over those million souls lost and probably lose the whole war. Whereas Capricorn's if we need to lose 1 million people in the overall war, sorry, 1 million folks, but you're dead.
I'm the Virgo. I'm the one who's going, we're sad. We're sad. Okay, we're not sad anymore. Okay.
Virgo will be wanting all the details of like, how are you going to do all this shit? Whereas Capricorn's just like, I don't care. 1 million people are going to die, but we're going to win the war. Move on.
Be sure you keep track so that we can tell their mother. Okay, good. Yeah, that's the Virgo. But I mean, we care a little bit, but just enough.
Although I follow all these zodiac sign things, and they keep claiming to me, like I follow this like websites and stuff, and they keep like linking Virgo and Cap as like the most compatible. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
And I thought that was interesting. Right. I don't usually.
Yeah, that's why we have such a great show. But I honestly, when I look at all the signs, I don't necessarily get it.
Well, there are things I definitely get frustrated with, I know, in all the cardinal signs, you guys. And those are those forward signs. What you've got: Capricorn.
Aries, Libra, and Cancer.
See, I can't remember those things.
And I
Libra.
have a stellium, which means 3 planets in the same sign of Libra. So that folks that are watching this know I'm actually kind of like a Cap Libra hybrid.
Ooh. Do, 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 do.
So I love Libra as well. But Cancer is my favorite sign.
We have so many shows to do.
Which is so funny. As you know, I get shit on for like being critical of all the water signs, even though Cancer is my favorite sign.
There goes YouTube. Yeah. You guys, stop shitting on Matt. Okay. He doesn't mean
Scorpio, Pisces, I love you both. Don't give me shit.
Like, he hates everybody equally, guys. Don't take it personally.
It's actually the fire signs that I shit on, but yet I've had a single fire sign give me shit.
They don't care.
The water
fire signs are
like,
they're just jealous, and they move on. Okay, guys, here we are. It is the 20th. It is you've only got a few days before Christmas if you're doing Christmas stuff, guys. However, if you're a pagan, if you're one of the old religions, you're working with some of the old gods, or if maybe you're in one of like the old Ithalic religions where you're going with the sun and the moon, then today would be one of the scariest, creepiest, deadest, most purgatoriest days of the year for you, as it is the coldest, darkest. The sun is out the least in the northern hemisphere, at least for us. And that's the winter solstice, the day before the winter solstice, the trollstice. No, that was a movie. But it's the 20th. And we talked last week about what today would bring. Today, Jupiter went into Aries. So maybe you guys got some calls, some opportunities, a lot of scam calls, a lot of calls about loans or jobs or changes or things that you feel like igniting within yourself, luck and opportunity. But tomorrow is going to be the 21st, Wednesday, December 21st. And 1, 2, 3.
3 things tomorrow?
3 things, it looks like. Let's just do these one at a time first. Okay, so you guys, if you're joining us for the first time on Astrology and Alchemy, get a piece of paper, chat, write it down, validate yourself. Take this time that if you have a dissociative thought, if you have an intuitive thought, write it down. Because we're going to tell you what the stars say. The first thing is, Capricorn season. Hey, Ruth, is that the sun is going to enter into Capricorn. Tell us what it means, Matt. What do they win?
I'm partial to this because this is my sun sign. So this is the sign of cold intensity and achievement. So the way I would say this is it's a little goat climbing up the mountain, and the goat's going to climb up that mountain no matter what the cost. So this is attaining your goals, attaining achievements regardless of the cost, whether that's personal, emotional, whatever. We're going to get shit done.
Get shit done. I like the shadow work in the space.
I add again, the 2 most intense signs in all the zodiac are Scorpio and Capricorn. But Scorpio is emotional intensity and Capricorn is cold intensity. So Scorpio is that kind of behind the scenes, what I'm emotionally feeling. Capricorn is cold. I don't give a shit. We're going to get the stuff done.
Well, add to that Sun and Capricorn. It's going to be squaring off with the Jupiter that went into Aries today. And that's something that you see moving tomorrow as they square off with each other. When you add that from today into tomorrow's Sun and Capricorn, how do you think that is going to add? Just fire, earth, and fire.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like Aries definitely is in conflict with Capricorn because and the reason why I say this is Aries is impulsive. Capricorn is very intentional. So whereas Aries is like, I'm just going to go ahead and move, Capricorn is not going to want to move unless it fits into the grand plan. So this is like where I see like conflict between opportunities might pop up to move, but from the Capricorn perspective, it might not help the greater overall goal. So you have this tension between opportunities popping up versus does this fit the grand plan? And if for a Capricorn perspective, it doesn't fit the grand plan, we're not going to move.
I don't want it. Get it out. Throw it out.
Whereas
Get
Aries,
rid of it.
Aries is just move. I don't give a fuck. Just move. Whereas Capricorn's like, how does this fit into the grand plan of things? And, the opportunity might be there, but if it doesn't fit my overall goals, I'm going to sit back and just pass. There is the tension.
Man. Steve, Carson, Pepper, Katie, everybody popping in. Welcome. Be sure and join us in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And a lot of great questions about, if it's your sun or your moon or your rising or what really is the most important. You guys, be sure and get a reading about your birth chart if you want some of those breakdowns, because there's a lot. I know Matt will chime in there.
Yeah, I want to say Pepper asked about the moon. So I'd say the sun is more your outward, how you're viewed. The moon is more your inward emotional state. So I would actually very much, if you know in your chart, and we can help you with this if you don't know it, where your moon is, that is more your internal emotional state. So I'll speak for myself. My moon is a Taurus. So that is very stable, but very stubborn. And I think my wife would back me up on this. Emotionally, I do not fucking move. I want stable, secure, but I ain't gonna move once I'm like entrenched. And so
but it might look differently because your
very
sun
different than the Capricorn, where I'm very much like trying to aggressively move towards things. And honestly, I'm just using myself as an example. I also have a ton of planets in Libra, so I'm all about balance and keeping everybody happy and diplomacy and keeping everything nice. But while I'm doing that, I am trying to drive towards my goals and emotionally keeping everything stable. That's me. I will gladly interpret anybody else. I'm just saying for me.
Right.
That's how the world works.
And the reason that it's been fun for me working in the realm of psychology and working with people and like counseling and assessments and profiling is because, come on, guys, if I can walk into something and have some assumptions to build from, and I will say over the years, astrology is a really great assumption.
Which I don't want to call you out, but I think your sun and moon are both in Virgo, right?
Yes.
But we really, because we're very earthy. So anyone watching this, we're very earthy. So you gotta get that. But so Sarah's going to be very much detail. I'm much more high level. Let's drive to a solution. But we're both in Earth, which is relatively emotionally impersonal.
Yeah, people might think we're really mean together, but we're not. We don't care. And it's really fun. And that's what allows us to kind of do things in the long term, I think, because Earth energy is about time, patience, investment, and quiet space and thinking and thought and brainstorming. Talking about moon, the last thing that's going to happen tomorrow on this winter solstice. So you guys have this expansion. You have a sun, right, in Capricorn. Then you have Jupiter, this expanding planet that's all about luck. I always think of Chris Farley barreling into the party. What's going on, guys? And he's in Aries. So you've got that coming in. But then you have the moon in Sagittarius. So
so moon in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the explorer. It's the sure, why not? Which honestly, again, I'm going to add to this. Sarah's very much earth fire. So stability and action. I'm very much earth air, stability and like ideas. So for all you water folks out there, you're not getting much water from either of us. Moon in Sagittarius is emotionally exploring, trying new things. It's being open to doing new stuff. Honestly, I feel that's more in since you're an earth fire person, that's more in your realm than mine. But it's, I would call this a era of, the moon is only it changes every 2 days. So it's not very lasting, but it's a window of emotional openness. So take that for what it's worth.
I would say that, okay, so significantly the Jupiter in Aries and this kind of like direct space for Jupiter, reading on the astrological movements, this is a 12-year cycle for Jupiter. And I really like seeing how some of these movements, how it was kind of talking about its correlations to this most recent May, things that people are working through in their life space. If you read any of Dr. Korn, he does a book called Generations. It talks about societal changes and generational gaps. It's a really great behavioral sociological book that became very popular in the last few years again, even though it's like 40 years old. But it was revamped, and it talks about 80-year cycles and how, we just came into a fusion, an energy space of like some really crazy new opportunity, really crazy innovation, and like opportunity, like you're going to get promotions 2023 if you've been feeling that life and death, purging toxic people, learning about relationships this past year, learning about what you love and who you love. This next year is who you are as an independent person and transforming into who you are through what you do, what you invest in, putting your money where your mouth is. And how is that going to pan out as we enter it in, like the dive, it comes in and starts the cycle off in a Capricorn season, which is kind of, I think, a good place to start. And I think this is the moon's like, ooh, I feel something starting. Like the moon in Sagittarius is like, is this the show? It's like the trailer. It's like something's kind of, it's impulsive and we're just doing it. We're just watching it. And it's like, sure, why not? You want to go see it? Yeah, that sounds good. Like it's short and sweet. But this really is kicking off a 12-year cycle of something that's going to be a really big transformation. But I'm excited to see how it pans out.
It's funny. I was sharing with folks that like I love Sag energy because I view myself as a lifelong learner and explorer, but I don't have a single planet in Sag.
My best friend is a Sagittarius, and like Sagittarius stellium, where she's got like 5 of them. And we talk a lot about how we tried to share a business together about a decade ago, and it didn't work because I was always planning. And I was like, okay, we're going to do that on the 27th. So 3 weeks from now. And she was like, I can't do it. And she would never show up for things. And I always thought she was flaky. And she's like, yeah, everyone thinks I'm flaky. And I finally just learned that she's impulsive. She just likes to do things impulsively. So I can call her up and say, hey, want to go thrift store shopping right now? And she'll drop everything she's doing to go do something with you. And, she's dependable in a spontaneous way. And once you learn how to use fire, you can keep it. But like, can you keep a campfire going for 5 years without watching it? I mean, that's exhausting.
It's funny. I still feel we need to do a show, like a side show where we rank our signs.
I know.
Like I said, like I made it very obvious. Cancer is my favorite. I get shit on for like shitting on the water signs. I gotta tell you, it's those fire signs. I honestly think, like, no offense, folks, but I think Aries is probably my least favorite because of the impulse.
I love Aries because I think of him as if I were going to make them into cartoon characters, I always think of Johnny Bravo is my Aries, where he just shows up and he's like the hey, want to go? like there's not a thought in that man's head, but he is so pumped up and ready. It's kind of fun. I always think of like,
and I feel like if I'm like Capricorn, I'm like laying out how to like storm the beaches of Normandy, and I'm laying all this out. And the Aries person is the one that like I'm laying out all this plan, and like Aries just like already like shot ahead and like effed up my whole plan.
Right.
I'm staring at like, dude, what's going on?
We'll pump you up, and that guy comes in and blows it all up. It's so stupid.
That's my view of like Aries. Which, if you guys know about like whole like aspects, Aries is square to Cap.
I don't know that stuff, Matt. I don't know the aspects.
The ones are the most that should cause the most trouble. Both Aries and Libra, because I have so much Libra energy. I think it's like that offsets. So Aries is my thing. So for you, Sarah.
Oh no.
Ones that should cause you the most trauma. Pisces should be like the one that helps fulfill what. So like much like for me for Cancer, Pisces should be like you're like the one that has like all the things that you're missing.
Oh.
The ones that should like annoy the shit out of you are Gemini and Sag.
Oh. I mean, yeah, I've befriended someone that would otherwise really bother me. I made her my friend and we love each other, but
So
I
with me,
don't.
it should be Libra and Aries, but I have so much Libra energy that I'm kind of a Libra person as well. So it's obvious that Aries is the one that annoys me.
Mm.
So for you, I predict it is.
I like them all. I've learned to love them all. I love them all, Matt, and I hate them all.
I love them all as well. It's just I wanted to share that because I always get shit from the water signs. Scorpio and Pisces, folks, I love them both, and they always
My dad's a Scorpio, but he's the only Scorpio that I've come
yeah,
to love.
they attack me for like being like, you hate
Attack
Scorpio,
everybody.
you hate
There's
Pisces.
Scorpion. Anyway, okay, guys, Thursday. Put
All
a
right.
dot on your paper if we've not lost you completely. Put a dot on it.
Yeah,
It's gonna be Thursday.
I'm like totally like
It's
derailing.
Jupiter. It's
and,
Jupiter
like,
and Aries. They don't even know what
like
we're doing.
Sarah's
Nope.
script here.
Thursday. It's gonna be Thursday.
God.
It'll be the day after the solstice. Did
We're
anybody?
We're like a half hour in, and we're only on the second.
I know. Who got surrendered on Wednesday?
All right, I'll shut up.
Who died? You're going to know. You're going to see what happened. Some major like proclamations, declarations like, I had a new job. I'm quitting. I'm pregnant. I'm divorced. Like all these crazy things are going to happen as people proclaim things on the solstice. The light returns in the circle of that. And then it's Thursday. And only one thing happens. And Matt's eyebrows go up.
I love whenever it's Venus.
This is that person that's not texted you back, or that person that you've been thinking about on the internet that you've not really talked to like ever, but you think about each other and like maybe you're twin flames and you've been wondering for the reach out. These are going to be, hey, I know it's been a while since we talked, but how's the holiday? This is that Christmas text message. I hope the holidays are treating you well.
This is Earth on Earth synergy. Venus in Capricorn. I view this as romance, but Capricorn's all about accomplishments.
So I saw that you recently did really well.
Think back to what I said before about Capricorn is intensity, but no emotion. So you got to worry about this whole like romantic conquest piece of kind of like.
So you're a doctor now. I always wanted my wife to go back to school.
I always feel like this, like notching a notch on your bedpost, like no emotional attach. So, be very aware of being used here. Synergy with Uranus, which is rebellion, in Taurus, which is stable, indulgent, which I believe it's like rebelling by doing what you shouldn't do. So just beware here of any approach from anyone, because I feel in the romantic energy space, and my Venus is not Capricorn, so I'm going to say this ahead of time, but Venus in Capricorn, in my opinion, is very cold and just kind of checking off boxes.
Yeah.
So I'd be very protective in the romantic space right now.
Yeah. Someone said, is this a reach around? This is not a reach around. This is someone coming up and going, hey, this is if you've been watching Stranger Things. This is the lifeguard coming up to the mom and saying, why don't we do the hotel? And her
romantic
being like,
energy, as long as Venus is in Cap, I will say the romantic energy is solely for impersonal, unemotional hooking up.
Yeah, I've always wanted to have a MILF.
Be totally aware, for good or for bad.
Katie says, what day is this?
Be aware of that. There is no emotions in
Thursday.
Venus in Cap, there's no emotion there.
Thursday, guys. Look out. Someone's going to come up and bite you under the mistletoe, maybe. So
as
just
horrible as it sounds, this is like romantic
mistletoe
conquest energy with no emotion. Don't be used, folks.
Don't do that. And also, there's some baby fever happening with this life transformative. Wow, I can't even speak. This life transformative energy where, because we're in a death space, especially today being the longest, coldest day and the sun isn't out at all, and the solstice, day before the solstice, this is kind of that death of all of the sun gods, their rebirth tomorrows, they return, and that, I don't know, if you believe in collective conscious energy, if you believe in residual energy, if you're a paranormal person, you believe in like plaque buildup in your veins. It's almost like we've been celebrating this for so long that like we feel a little bit of that pull or push. A lot of women are going to be poking holes in their diaphragms. Boys, if you don't know what that is, or if you don't know that they're taking amoxicillin with their birth control, or they're taking some peppermint schnapps with their birth control, or their NuvaRing, they don't know what? Like, I'm giving you the eyebrow if you're just listening to the radio on Odyssey, but you would see the eyebrow on YouTube because be careful.
You nailed it, because I didn't even think of this. The Uranus of rebelling by not doing.
Yeah.
So by not doing
they're going to take their IUD out.
Exactly.
I'm going to be all natural.
In the whole romantic conquest, this is whole.
Careful.
I hate to say this. This is a very much entrapment by pregnancy vibe.
Oh, yes, it is. 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 And ladies, I'm pointing my finger at you. If you've even thought about it, well, I could blow that marriage up. Well, I could really do that. If you've been the mistress or the adulteress, or you know the person that is that person, and you think, well, I'm just going to put a wrench in it for the new year. Don't.
So I'm usually pretty G-rated in my things here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say this is a very much energy of boys, keep it in your effing pants.
Keep it in your pants, ladies. Balance an Advil between your knees.
Don't do it.
Not on Thursday.
Because this is honestly, this energy is much more in favor of a woman trapping a man. I don't want to be. Yeah. I don't want to be gender biased.
Because it's Capricorn. Because it's long term.
The way this is laid out, this is much more dangerous for a guy getting trapped than a woman getting trapped. So, dudes,
she got you for 18 years. Yes.
Keep it in your pants. Don't do any hookups on Thursday. It's bad vibes.
Don't think that it is gonna. Again, I work with sex offenders.
We do a birth control hours section. Of fun could turn into 20 years of
a Ziploc bag, a trash bag. These are not condoms. Don't make these poor decisions.
Exactly.
Don't do it. So we digress. That would be Thirsty Thursday, guys. Just be careful if someone's coming up and grabbing on you in the parking lot.
We can say this because we are both
adults,
married with families, and not playing in the space. So take our advice.
That's right. We're perfect people. Listen to us.
Whether you listen to me or not, Thursday is not going to impact my life one way or the other.
It is going to impact our lives because we're going to watch it from the sidelines as we sell turkey legs to the people. And we're going to know precisely when the who's your daddy moment comes. It's coming. Get it ready. It's not.
I have as many children in this world as I will ever have.
He's got quadruplets, guys. Leave him alone. Don't, you know what I mean? So anyway, that's just Thursday. Friday. Who's pregnant? You won't know that soon. You won't know that soon, but you will have people thrown out. Well, guess what kind of Christmas this is going to be?
No matter what we say, there's going to be some people out there that get trapped on Thursday.
Oh, for sure. At least 42% of the population. Good God.
Absolutely.
Won't be me. But it probably will be somebody that you know. And so kind of look around on Friday, the Friday before Christmas, and then realize, oh, look at it. Look at it. Look at. Friday's a new moon in Capricorn.
Lunar cycle, all about achievement, getting shit done. So this is the time to think about what your goals are going to, and just think about it. I mean, this works out perfectly because 2023, It's New Year's resolutions. It's the whole, so this is the energy to identify what the hell you want to accomplish in the next year.
Yep. And you're ovulating or menstruating.
So use that energy, decide what you want, and effing go for it.
Go for it. You want to go back to school? Do it. You want to open a skate shop? Do it. Your state's now marijuana legal and you're just going to tell the whole family you don't care? Do it. Do whatever you want to do.
Just observing the chat there. Carson loves you, Sarah. You're the best.
Well, who knows why? Because we said a bunch of stuff there. So we'll just take that as an open compliment.
I'm always self-conscious, so I always take that as a one-sided, you're the best.
I'm the best. Not you.
Out of that comment, so yeah, I get it. So it's all good, Carson.
It's for me specifically.
I know you're a fan of me as well, Carson, so don't take that personally.
We're a package deal.
I'm just messing with you, Carson.
You're a fan of the
Carson
show.
has said lots of nice things about me, so I don't want him to take that the wrong way.
No, and we don't, by the way, because we don't care, because we're earth signs, right? We're cold. We're cold as ice. But on Friday, it's going to be a new moon in Capricorn, so we're especially going to be cold as ice. But what you'll notice, or at least what do you think this theme is? Because I tend to think, okay, new moon, this is that under the light of the moon. It's going to be beautiful. it's going to be, setting those future resolution time, holiday, take action, last minute shopping, you know what, be practical, have some discipline. Capricorn is all about that.
All right, I'm totally derailed. We're going to end up going like 90 minutes here, but Katie asked about my wall color. I inherited this wall color when we bought this house. I actually love it. So I don't know why you were calling that out. So if people love it or hate it, let me know. But I actually like the color of my
paid
office.
attention to the wall color.
All right, go back to your sign.
New moon in Capricorn. What would you say most about Capricorn for that new moon?
I thought I already said that, so I'm sorry. This is all about your goals for the next year. So highlight your goals, articulate your goals. This is a lunar cycle all about impersonally getting shit done. So goals.
For me, it would be my bathroom. I have a bathroom renovation.
Goals.
Get it done. Vacations planned, cars fixed, oil changes, the thing's done. Get it done. And
I apologize too, because my kids, when I came home, my kids and their friends were like, Matt, you're very animated tonight. So I'm in a very good mood and animated. So I'm sorry if I'm like derailing.
Don't be sorry. No, you're doing great. Don't be sorry.
Yeah, but we're at 10:45 and I think we're at Friday. We're in trouble for the podcast.
No, we're not. We're gonna be good.
Tricks us.
For Odyssey, we like to fit in there at exactly a specific time frame, so that's why we're always trying to say somewhat. What's the word? Disciplined, Capricornish.
Yeah. We have one of our formats that restricts us to a very specific to the minute time frame.
To the minute time, and then the other ones are pretty light, lax.
We're like 3 minutes away from like getting the rest of the week in.
We're good. Okay, Saturday. Now, I'm really thankful that as someone working in social services with probations and stuff, I will say, I'm thankful I don't got to work on the weekends unless they're already dead. They're dead. If I'm hearing about it, they're already dead. If it's a Friday, they're in the process of dying. God damn it. If it's Monday through Thursday, I'm trying to be preventative. Okay? If it's on the weekends, don't call me. Call the 911 and the funeral home. Like, call those people. It's just kind of specific, and those are my boundaries. So Saturday, I'm happy to say that the most putrid of the shifts in astrology for me, and man, when I look at it, knowing that Mercury's in Capricorn, I said it that way on purpose, guys. Mercury will be in Capricorn. We don't care. Neptune and Pisces.
Yeah. Neptune always causes Sarah problems.
People will.
She deals with people. I deal with chemicals, so I don't give a shit. Like, nothing bad's going to happen in my life, no matter what these do. But so this is a bad thing. So this is thoughts and communication in a very cold, achievement-oriented space.
Last week, Neptune and Pisces was Twitch.
Removing obstacles to deception, dreams, self. I always view this as like, taking one for the team, self-sacrificial. So I guess I worry a little bit that this could be thoughts and communication and what can I achieve that will be for the greater good. So I feel like that is a very much a sacrifice for the greater good, which, sacrifice could mean a lot of different things.
Twitter.
It could mean like some bad things as well. So
think of Elon leaving Twitter.
Say, don't be surprised if you see some people taking some things for the team, including I would not be. Which day is this? Is this Saturday?
Saturday.
Don't be surprised if there's a high-profile suicide on Saturday.
And that's Christmas Eve. So then, because that's what I looked at, is I was like, oh, it's Saturday. Oh, I won't get a call. But then I was like, oh shit, it's Christmas Eve. I absolutely am going to have paperwork on Monday.
Someone's going to fall on their sword Saturday. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Whether that is absolutely like their life or their role. Look for somebody stepping down from a position.
Elon.
It could be, it doesn't have to be life or death, but it is definitely a change in roles.
The Mercury in Capricorn, because I work in mental health, I feel like throughout the last few decades that there's been these shifts, and we shift a lot in linguistics too, just in our word usage. But I think about autism spectrum disorders, ASD, which used to be antisocial spectrum disorders, which is where I specialize, but I don't specialize in autism, but I do in somewhat because autism is antisocial in many ways, and it has skimmed into each other, ironically, and just their labeling. And antisocial, not in the psychopathy, which is where I typically work, but antisocial is in that they may not be making eye contact or picking up nonverbal, verbal social cues. Mercury in Capricorn is very autistic.
I'm going to add to Katie's point there. Don't be surprised if Putin's not in power by the 26th or 27th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is a cold, knowledgeable, smart, quietly said, something done that is a big social services movement of some kind. That when we say sacrifice for the team, I'm going to even put sword in the stone reference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this person will even be aware of what they're doing as they're doing it. They will know what they're doing it, but it's not going to be maybe what we expect. So for those of you doing intuitive practice,
sure where it's going to. It could even happen in the U.S. I just feel there's going to be a big. So this is my prediction: huge change on the world stage of leadership between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Someone's moving off the scene, replaced by somebody else. I'm going to say it's Putin, but it could very well be Biden. I mean, who the hell knows? There's going to be some shift.
Who knows? Yeah, it's going to be.
There's going to be a shift.
Ooh, tell us what your thoughts are. This is always fun. It's, sometimes it's for research. Let us know and put it in the chat right now. What's coming to your mind? Don't feel crazy. Crazy's cool. Maybe you do need to feel crazy. Go with it. Write it down. Talk it out. Validate it. Because then you have that like, oh, snap. I totally thought that. And then look how it pans out for Sunday. Sunday, again, only one thing happening. These are pretty specific, focused things happening. And it is that the moon, now waxing, now building after that new moon space. And it's moving into Aquarius.
Yeah, the moon, I got to reemphasize this again. Moons change every 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very fleeting energy. But if you think of the whole cycle on the moon cycles in Capricorn, it's objective. So now this is moving towards Aquarius, which is rebelling, changing the rules. So if you think about what your goal is going to be, this is a shift towards what do I need to change to move towards that goal. So it's very quick. It's only going to be like 2 days long, but pay attention to those kind of feelings as to what do I need to change in my life to move towards my goal. And put that in place.
Yeah, adjust a little bit of that GPS. Just kind of look and determine what tools you're using on your utility belt. Stream down. When I say stream down, that's almost a play on, gosh dang, what word? Rationalizing. Begin to ration what it is that you're doing in your feelings and what feelings apply to the goals you have for the new year. That would be a lot of that shadow work. But then it brings us to Monday. And you guys, these are the last 2 days. So just write 2 little dots on the sheet. We're going to go out strong and focused. Yeah. Monday. Dude. How was your weekend? How was your Christmas? Oh, crap. I laugh a little bit because look at all that Aquarius energy. The moon waxing in Aquarius. I know Matt clenches his nose up because Saturn in Aquarius. That's why.
Yeah, I don't like this.
The last few years, every time Saturn moves in Aquarius, what happens, guys? What happens?
See, I like stability and predictability. That's why I scrunch my nose up at this. This is Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn's all about the rules. Aquarius is the rule breaker.
Mask, unmask.
So I view this as an opportunity to change things up and break the rules. And so emotional combining with this, think about what we just said over the weekend of someone changing.
Someone died. Someone shifted.
Someone moving off the scenes. So I feel this as aligning with that as the whole game changes. The rules change. The whole landscape changes. The whole world will look different on December 26th as opposed to how it looks today.
Oh, my God. It could be aliens.
Which direction? I have no freaking clue, but I'm just going to say that Monday. So think back to the show. And think of where you're at Monday, how things look compared to how they are today. And things are going to look very different.
Holy cow, get a compass out. Get a compass out. This could be the magnetic shifts coming out from the places in the universe that Elon said, trust me, I could tell you. I could tell you on Twitter and everyone could hear me, and I'd tell you about all the crazy things that we're seeing on the satellite, just as all the Mars satellites are going, I don't know, I'm not getting a signal anymore. That's weird. And we're also getting like all these solar flares that are making people go crazy. And we're also getting like nuclear blizzards. Thanks for that weird language, HARP. Anyway, let's not go crazy.
Could be simple.
Something happens.
Could be simple. My old prediction is that the market could just crash on Monday.
It sure could. We could have a bunch of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Proud Boy moments that have been kind of mentioned and planned for some of those major transformers during the weekend, during major crazy weather that would just be an absolute perfect time. So people.
We have 3 substations here in my state shot up to shut down a drag show.
Pay attention. Pay
So
attention.
We put hundreds of seniors in the cold
to
prevent a drag show.
I know you have feelings about it, but you don't share them. Don't let it out, Matt.
I'm just saying, it's what causes more harm. I'd rather have
Heather
grandma.
says,
I'd rather have grandma have heat.
The market situation.
I'd rather have grandma have heat. That's my position.
Well, and this is the deal, Heather, is that we are all neighbors. We are all in this together. There is, in essence, especially with communism and like consumerism and like all those things that we are working with here, there's a sense that we need to have some unity or team efforts, like to make things happen. There is a give and take, and we're definitely like,
I'll add to it. I don't know where Heather was going with that, but I had 2 huge, very bad predictions for this year that I was hoping did not come true, and right now they have not. And that was, I thought we were going to get drawn into a war in November, which the missiles landed in Poland, which I feel was as close as it got, but we didn't go to war. And my other prediction was that the market collapsed in December, and I hope I'm 100% wrong. I'd rather
argue
that for Matt, you don't know shit, than have that happen. But that was my second prediction.
Well, and I would argue that those things have already happened. But I'm an entirely different person. So anyway, buzzer down, says Katie. Everyone take a step back. Be careful. Put your pens to paper and let your intuition guide you. What do you think is going to happen? And what is spirit guides, angels? I don't know. Whoever you talk to, Aunt Jemima, what are they telling you? What are they whispering in your space as you hear this? And let's bring it all together. Let's seal it to the final minute. Tuesday. Oh, gosh. There it is. The last thing and only thing. And it happens on Tuesday as we seal the week and see you again here next week on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. But the moon will wax into Pisces, building into a water space, our feelings. Ooh.
Self-sacrifice, taking one for the team.
Feeling.
My gut feels I don't like how this lines up with the other stuff that's going on of like big changes, and then people. So I feel like some people are going to be willing to.
What do you mean you're pregnant?
I feel like big changes happening over the weekend, and then people are going to be like, "Yeah, we're for the greater good, we're willing to like not fight for it," which could move things in a bad direction. So yeah, I don't like the direction.
It's going to be having had treaded water for so long through 2022, and then now there is going to be a big rift in the ocean where you look and you're like, oh, you're kidding me. I've got to live through this big storm or just like give up. And you really have to endure. So I'm excited to see, and combination with holiday stress, it's going to be eventful. This next week is going to be eventful. Be prepared. Take rest, have salt in your bath, do the things you need to do. Reach out to us if you'd like. We're always here to talk and to listen. We are also doing readings and specials for last minute gifts for yourself or others.
I just hope I'm wrong, but I feel like our show next week is going to be like from a much more pessimistic spot than we are right now. That's just my guess. That's my prediction. That this is going to be a not good week.
I'm going to be happy that won't be announcing a pregnancy or anything like that. You know what I mean? It'll just be good news. It'll just be good news. I'm just going to be selling turkey legs here from the sideline, guys.
I'm so old that I'm just be happy that I'm not going to be a grandparent. I'll leave it that way.
So
kids are off the table at this point.
Right. And so for that Tuesday, moon in Pisces, guys, just kind of think about what does it mean? What does it mean? What has it meant? And as you go into the last week of the year and kind of preparations, you'll see here us next Tuesday. We want to see you next Tuesday. And we'll finish the week out of the last year together in 2022. And we'll talk about how it all comes together for the new year. And that's exciting. That is exciting.
And I'll just add, just kind of putting a positive spin on this. There's opportunity and positives in anything that happens. So even if we're saying things will trend in a negative way, that doesn't mean that there isn't upside to anything that does happen.
Right.
You just got to be open to the opportunities that present themselves to you.
I'd never mind. I won't even say it out loud. Yep. I will not leave you guys with that scarred mental thought. I'll just leave you with curiosity.
I just feel like for folks that want certainty, I feel like the world's going to look a lot less certain next week than it does today.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Opportunity. Let there be light. Until next week.
Oh, thank you, Pepper. Yeah, we'll be celebrating the day before. My birthday is next Wednesday. I'm very depressed to share. Like, maybe I will share what age that is, but yeah, I'm beyond the point where the birthday is actually
he's a vampire
or a positive thing. But
yes,
yeah, we'll be talking about my birthday on next show because it's next Wednesday,
and we will see you then, guys. Until then, bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.